So like I said, we're going to pick up basically where we left off last time. So if you would, nice, clean, fresh sheet of paper. And if you would, just throw down the dot somewheres. And just to be on the safe side that we remember what the heck we're doing, please, if you would be so kind, throw down a square somewhere around there. And just go ahead and do one quick practice. Yeah, I figured I'd get it all nice and colorful for you. Oh. So go ahead and just do a basic square shape and bring that on back to the dot. And then go ahead and cut it off, just like we did last time. I just want to make sure you guys are feeling comfortable with what we're doing. Okay. Whoa. So the plan today, just to kind of give you guys a heads up, the plan today is pretty much to take you kind of step by step, but by the end of today, you guys are going to be doing some pretty complicated stuff. But I promise you, as long as you guys kind of stick with it, you guys are going to be absolutely fine, because I'm going to walk you through every single step of the way. Colored claw, Wolverine hand, yeah! Okay, are you ready? Cool, let's do some cool stuff. Did anyone have any questions about that cube? I'm assuming nobody started crying or anything. Good? Okay. I cried. Okay, sorry, here we go. So let's do some fun stuff. All right. So somewhere else around our central kind of vanishing point, or our focal point here, somewhere else, what I want you guys to do, if you would, imagine for a second, don't actually do this, just for a second, kind of imagine. Imagine if I had a square, maybe like a little bit bigger square, right? But I cut like a hole out of it, right? So I'd end up with kind of this L-shaped piece, almost like in Tetris, okay? Now you are welcome to take your Tetris piece and you can rotate it any which direction that you'd like to, but go ahead and throw down this L shape. Good. So go ahead and throw down your L shape. After you've done your L shape, remember, here's the key, right? Whenever you're drawing any shape ever in 1 point perspective, right? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corners. All you're going to do is take your corners back to the dot. Okay? If you're not quite sure if you should draw a line to it, do it anyway. X-ray vision is just fine. Okay, so you got your corners going back to the dot. Cool to the EO. Then simply, here's the deal. So look at your, like for example, mine is green, right? So go ahead and look here. So I've got, this one's vertical. So I'm going to go back a little ways. Doesn't really matter how far back I go. I'm going to make a parallel line with that. So this is vertical. That'll be vertical, right? I can do the same thing here. Horizontal line, go back a little ways. Horizontal line. Vertical, vert. Horizontal. Then we can go through and kind of clean it up a little bit. And what I'll end up with is a pretty good three-dimensional Tetris cubey thing. Technical term, look it up. So here's the thing. If you're finding that you're erasing a whole lot, or you're confused, or you're like, what the heck is going on, right? Here's the deal. If you felt super comfortable making this cube, right? That was easy, but all of a sudden, what the hell is this? I don't know what's going on. Here's the thing. Remember that this is just 3 cubes. That's all it is. I took this, I put 3 of them together, right? So if you find along the way, and this will be true for everything that we do today, if you find along the way that this is really simple, but these are much harder, just take 10 seconds and break your complicated object down into almost like pixels or like Minecraft square things and take those back into space. Take them back one at a time. That's okay. If it works for you, then it works. Period. No question asked. Cool? Before we go any further, I'm happy to help you out. Does anyone have any questions with the L shape? Because I don't want to go too fast, too quick, but I mean, again, it's just 3 squares. That's all it is. Good? Cool? Awesome? Yay? Okay. All right, here's the deal. So next step. I'm going to take this 3 little square L shape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to double up. So what I want to do is, again, somewhere else around my dot here, what I want to do is make like a letter C. Keep it really geometric, very square block letter. You can do a C, and again, you can rotate this however you want to rotate it. I don't care. But if you notice, if it helps, if you can do an L, this is just 2 L's kind of wedged together, right? So go ahead and draw on your letter C, and then again, where there's a corner, you're going to take that back to the dot. Even if you need to draw right through something else, that is A-okay. X-ray vision is awesome. You, me, and Superman have it. After you pull those back, and then just cut them off. Vertical, vertical, horizontal, horizontal, vert. All good so far? Yep, okay. All right, next step. All right, guys, so here's the deal. Next step. So if you think about it, the first one here was a simple square. The second one, we just kind of tripled up and made this cool L shape. Then we copy and pasted that L, and now we've got 2 L's kind of stitched together to make a little letter C, right? So, surprise, we're going to take that letter C and we're going to double up on that so that we end up with, for our fun time here, right? So, if you would, please, start with a blocked in kind of letter S. And again, you can rotate this however you want to. It doesn't have to be a letter S. After you've blocked it in, go ahead and start bringing it back in space. I'm telling you, go X-ray vision style. Just draw right over top of your piece. It's going to make your life really easy. You might have a lot of little wispy lines on there, but who cares? We'll fade them out later. If you guys get stuck at all while you're working on the S, just take a peek. And I've got an example for you. Point. We've got an L. We've got a C. We've got an L. We've got an S. We've got a whole lot of weird letters. We've got like a period, right? So do me a favor. Start fresh. Find a blank sheet or a blank spot. That's fine. Put a new dot so we have something to kind of work out of. This time, if you would, above the dot. So like 1, 2, 3. Above the dot, do block letters of the first 3 letters of your name.
You got initials?
No. First 3 letters of your name, of your first name. Just kind of block them in. Underneath the dot, do the first 3 letters of your last name. Take your time with that, but when you're done, obviously, take all of those letters back to that singular dot. So for example, if there's, like for example, my letter C is off to the left-hand side of the dot, so I'm going to see this side of it. I'll see the inside on that. The R, however, is on the opposite side, so it will come back that way, right? And then the H right down the middle. Okay? If you feel that this is really complicated, grab one of the rollers in the back. It'll make your life a lot easier. You're more than welcome to. I don't care at all. finished or not finished, just take a pause for a second and take a peeky up. So for a good bit of you guys, with your name, most likely I'm going to bet you had one of two, if not both, of these. You probably had some angles, right? Like a little 45-degree angle, like in my R, in my Z here, or in my K, right? And or you might have had some like open holes, like my O and my R here, right? Maybe you had an A or something else like that, right? So I'm going to show you a couple quick tricksies with those real quick, right? So I'm going to make a weird shape. I don't know. Let's see. It's a weird looking shape. So like something like this, like that, and then I'll put like a hole there, right? It's a cat. All right. So I've got my weird looking shape, right? I'll put my dot somewhere, right? So right there, right? Okay. So here's the dealie, right? With these angles. Right, with these angles, you're going to do the exact same thing you would if it was a perfectly straight up and down line, right? I'm going to bring it back to the dot. Wherever my points are, where my edges are, I'm just going to draw those out. Even if it's a hole, just x-ray vision, right over top. Okay, so we got all these like strings kind of pulling them back in space, right? Then, all I'm going to do is this. I'm going to think, okay, this is an angle, so I'm going to take it back and kind of copy paste that angle. So I get this kind of trapezoid shape, right? This is an angle, so I'm going to copy paste that. Right, like so. Same thing, straight up and down now. There's that, right? I can't really see any part of this cheek, so he just stays like he is. The inside of the mouth here, this is all I see. So like a little darker side and a lighter side, right? This line goes back a little ways. Kind of cuts down, this cuts down, that cuts down. This cuts straight over, that cuts straight over. And there's my cookie cutter of a weird cubist cat. Right? Look how adorable he is. Okay, alright, he's an angry cat though. Okay, because he's on fire. Fire! Okay, alright, so, that's, yeah, I have inner demons. Okay, so, that should help you at least thinking a little bit about these kind of cuts. If it doesn't, let me do one more little tester for you here just to show you before we jump on, okay? So what if I did just a wacky looking shape real quick, right? Oh, it's wacky, right? So there's that. I'm gonna bring this guy again just real quick back into space, going to my vanishing point or my focal point. Same thing as before. Now, here's the key. Again, I'm going to draw like I have x-ray vision, okay? Like we can see right through this thing's made out of glass, okay? If it helps. Remember how we did the old school like kindergartner cube, right? We copied, we pasted, and we connected some dots, right? In essence, we're doing the exact same thing. If it helps you see it, right? Here we go, watch. There's that. This comes down, down, right? This comes over, straight across, across. Straight up. Now tell me, do you really want to love me forever? Straight down, and then straight back up again. It's the same shape, doubled, right? And then all I'm doing is connecting my dots. That's it. Right? It's magic. But does that make sense, like as far as what we're doing here? All these weird shapes and stuff, okay? And again, even if it's a hole, all you have to do, the super secret answer, I told you on day one, right? Straight up and down, straight side to side, or back to the dot. If it is not one of those three options, then it is wrongo, I promise, at least with 1 point perspective. Okay, good? Yeah? Let's move on to something way more fun, because that's boring. Okay. So, I want to introduce to you guys some more curvy lines, because blocks are boring. So we're evolving out of blocks, we're getting some curves, we've had one too many potatoes. Here we go. So, throw down a new dot, brand new. Alright, in your head, just very quickly, pick a letter out of the entire English alphabet. I don't care what it is. For example, I will pick the grade that I will give all of you for this project. Yep, and I'm going to draw this F as if it is a bubbly letter F. It's like a wing. Right? Okay, so go ahead and draw somewhere around your dot. I don't care where. Somewhere around your dot, go ahead and just bubble in your letter. It can be a capital, it can be lowercase, I don't care. Just make sure that there's no straight edges. That's all I ask. We're going straight bubbly on this guy. So whereas before I would have done like a block letter, right? All I'm doing now is just rounding that guy out. Nice and smooth. Okay? Now, here's the big trick. Here's the big trick. I'm going to have you guys shift for one second. We're going to return to that letter in one moment. Before we do the letter, somewhere else around your dot, draw a circle. Plain Jane, boring circle. Okay? Here's the thing. There's no corners on your circle, right? If I was doing a cube, it'd be really easy, right? I find those corners, I bring it back, I cut it off, done deal, cube, I win the year, right? But there's no corners on my circle, right? So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to find the outermost edge of my circle. Now, how do I do that? Well, you can think about it this way if it helps. Pretend, maybe you have a ruler, right? Maybe you don't. But if I lock my ruler down to the dot, and I kind of pivot my ruler like that, right until that circle disappears, that is my outermost edge, right? If you want to eyeball it, you can do that too. So if I bring this guy down, looks like right about here, it's my outermost edge. And depending on where that circle is around my dot, as it orbits, right, those edges will obviously change. Okay? So go ahead and basically get yourself like the world's longest cone. Okay? Okay, so now, how do we turn this into a cut cylinder, right? Well, here's the deal. Again, if I was doing a cube, right, obviously if I'm doing a cube, I'm going to take whatever this line is, I'm going to go parallel with it and cut it. Take this line, go parallel, cut it, right? So we're going to do the exact same thing, only this time this line, to make it parallel, we're going to go with the contour of our cylinder. So just taking that and shrinking it down, and that will give us a nice, clean tube going back in space. Cool? Does anyone have any questions about the tube? Tuba. So, if this makes sense, right? We're just literally replacing the flat square face with a circle, and then replacing those parallel edges with circular ones, then all of a sudden, that looks pretty good, right? So we're going to do the exact same thing now back on our little letter here. I'm going to find that outermost edge for my letter. Right? And then all I'm going to do is mimic whatever this curve is, mimic it. Curve here, mimic. Curvy curve, mimic. And when I get those nice and parallel, I end up with a pretty rockin' three-dimensional bubble letter F. Fantastic. Give it a try. So, questions. Do you guys have any for me as far as everything we did? We did the blocked in name. We did cool fire cat. We did bubble letters. We got tubes, right? Circle going back, farthest outside edge. Does anyone have any questions about any of that stuff? right? So 1 point perspective as far as relatively basic objects making sense, yeah? Cool. All right, I'm going to leave you with this one thing, and then I'm going to let you guys actually pack up as soon as you're done with it. But the key is this: A, you have to actually try, and B, it's probably going to take you like 10 minutes. Cool? You ready? It's not going to be easy. Here's what I want you guys to do. What I need is this. On a fresh, sheet, doesn't have to be a fresh sheet of paper, just fresh dot, right? Okay? Obviously, doing a circle and a tube is really simple. So if I did, for example, if I just do a circle right here and I cut off maybe a hole out of it, like a donut. What's that? Yeah, totally, right? Totally, right? So, bless you. So I can take this back in space, I can cut it off, and then I can see the inside of that. Right? So far you guys are with me? Okay. So, if I did that, it makes perfect sense, right? So theoretically, I could do that again, maybe. Right? Same thing, only this time I'm going to give it like a different point. Right? I'm going to give it a different point, same thing, line it up. I'll see the edge right here, cut that, and I'll see the inside right there. Again, so far so good, right? 2 little donut holes going back in different directions to different focal points. Good? Right? We're going to do, one more just for the heck of it here. So I did one more of these circles with a hole in it, and I had maybe another dot, right? Does anyone feel that they are uncomfortable, that they would not be able to do these 3 circles with holes in them? Good, right? You can totally do this, right? Absolutely. So here's what I want you to do instead. Draw that.